Start us off. My name is Oak Norton, and I'm the CFO of Kirks Story Associates. And just want to thank everybody for attending today. Like I mentioned, this is the first one of our webinars, and we're really excited to get started. But first, I just wanted to point out to you a couple of things on your screen. Down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see there's a couple of controls that you can bring up. One of them is a chat, and one of them is a Q&A. And I think you'll also see a raise hand button. And so if you want to leave a question in the Q&A, if you want to chat and make a comment, I'll monitor those things as Kirk is teaching. And then at points in his presentation, he'll take questions, and you can either ask your question then, or if I see that you've already posted one, I'll pose that for Kirk and he can address that at that time. If you raise your hand, that'll put a little hand symbol by your name, and I think it floats you to the top of the list. And then if you want to ask a question, you're welcome to do that as well. So with that, I will introduce our guest speaker today, Kirk Duncan. It's my great pleasure to introduce him. Kirk is president of a company called 3 Key Elements, and he's a member of the National Speakers Association. He developed his company from a card table in the garage into a multi-million-dollar company. And he's been recognized for 4 consecutive years by Inc. 5000 as one of the fastest growing companies in America. And they've been recognized for 4 consecutive years by the Utah 100 and have been featured in Forbes magazine a couple of times. And Kirk has given literally thousands of presentations. He's been on television dozens of times, and regularly trains audiences that are several hundred people large. And on a personal note, I've attended some of Kirk's programs in the past and witnessed the transformation that it brought about, particularly for one of my own children who'd been through some difficult trauma. And Kirk's presentation today is on lowering stress in 3 easy steps, which is obviously something we could use in today's environment. And I know you're going to love what Kirk's going to present to you, because I've been the recipient of that training before. And so with that, Kirk, I'll turn the time over to you, and I'll shrink my screen down and make you the main presenter here.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Oak. I really appreciate that. And man, thank you for what you do to find good things and get it out to the people. I know that's what you stand for. You stand for efficiency, order, structure, and togetherness. Like, if I were to pick words, that's how I would describe you. And I really appreciate you asking me to be here and to share some of my thoughts and some of what I found with everybody who's going to be listening to this or watching this recording. So super cool to be here with you. Now, I like to do a show and tell, like the good old days in elementary school. And so I'm going to switch the screen here to my screenshots so I can share. But it might get a little messy here just for a second until I get it coordinated. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. So yes, our topic that I've been asked to talk about, which is super important, right? I mean, there's so many things in this world right now that can just move our stress up. And it's not good, because stress affects us in every aspect of our life. And so what I want to point out here, over here in this little blue box, managing yourself is a skill. You don't naturally know how to do this. It is a skill that every person will benefit from learning. Until then, you will continue to feel out of control in your life. So to lower stress, it is a managing yourself skill. And so if you're thinking, as a teenager or as an adult, if you're thinking you should automatically already know how to do this, and you're bothered or bugged because you don't have the skill, you're being way too hard on yourself, because it is a skill that you get to still learn. I don't know anywhere in school where the teacher said, okay, the next 4 weeks, we're going to study how to lower stress. It doesn't happen. It's not in the classes I took. Maybe they brought it up in one chapter, but it didn't get talked about. And so pretty much everybody stresses. And then you got the other group of people who stress all the time. So today, I want to help make this simple for you of some steps that you can practice so that you can get good at this skill. But you got to know, if you don't do the steps and you don't practice, you're not going to get good at this. It's just not going to happen. Okay, so a little bit about where I come from, because it really plays into why I'm going to teach you the way I'm going to teach you today. I come from Wyoming. This is where I was born, a little town called Lander. I don't know if you've ever driven through Wyoming, but about middle, a little bit to the left, a little bit down, right up against the Wind River Mountains is a little town called Lander. And when I say little, population about 7,000, 7,500 people. We got a couple stoplights. Now, here's the thing. When I first started out going to school, this is my elementary school, I did not do very well. Schooling was not my thing back then. I was a slow learner in a very big way, because it probably happened because of this. This is me supposed to be doing homework. Like I didn't want to learn. Now listen to that word, learn. Most of us don't like to do homework. Most of us don't want to do tests. We don't want to do homework. We don't want to sit there and have to learn. We just want everything to be great. But I learned along the way that I had to smarten up and go, okay, I need to study something. And so after I grew up a bit, and I got married and started having kids, I was like, wow, ignorance is not going to save me. Ignorance is not going to save me. I really think we should have adult, what do you call them? Report cards, adult report cards. I mean, wouldn't that be terrible? And we would get graded on our finances. We'd get graded on our health, get graded on our cleanliness of our home. We get graded on our social skills, our emotional management skills, our goal setting skills. But some reason we get out of school and there's no measuring. You know what I mean? Like there's no measuring. There's no check in to see how you're doing. And so what happens to us as adults is a bunch of stuff gets stacked up inside of us, and then it plugs us up as human beings, and then we stress. And so because we don't have a regular checkup for our stress levels, it can build up and we didn't even know it. So yeah, when I was young, I wasn't in the learning thing, but now I'm huge on learning. I'm a slow bloomer, but I figured it out. So what happened to me was a life-changing experience where I learned about vision boards. And you see that in the background? That is a goal poster, or another way you can call it is a vision board. And I learned how to set goals and get them. That's what I learned how to do. And I got to tell you, wow, holy smokies, woohoo, are you serious? I was like, wait a minute, more people need to know how to do this. And I was just blown away how cool a vision board or goal poster works when you actually learn how to activate your mind to accomplish goals. Because what if we all could get our goals? What? In fact, right now, jump in the chat box and tell me, what is your goal? Have you ever had a goal or a dream or a wish? Because if you don't have one, that's going to cause stress. It will. If you don't have something to look forward to, you get too caught up on all the issues going on in life. I'm telling you, as I've coached people and I coach them and they're all in stress and they're all in anxiety and they're all in this worry and they're just, all this bad stuff's happening to them. I'm like, okay, we need to set a goal. And they're like, I don't have time for a goal. I'm like, this is why your life is a wreck, is because you don't have a goal. You don't have anything to look forward to. And so you don't get out of bed looking forward to something you're still all upset and moody about what happened yesterday. So this training right now is not about goal setting and goal getting, but I just have to put that on the table in front of you, because if you don't have a goal and you're not pursuing a goal, you will naturally stress, because you're trying to figure out how to fix your life and you can't even set a goal and get a goal. I mean, fixing your life is a goal. That's called an improvement. It's called self-improvement. To get from stress to happy is self-improvement or personal development. And people who are in personal development and self-improvement, they set goals and they get their goals. And so I just have to put that on the table in front of you, that if you don't have a goal, that's probably one of the big reasons why you're stressing. It's not because of all the stuff going on in the world. It's not because of all these other things. This is one of the root issues. So yeah, jump in the chat box and tell me what your goal is. I hope you have a goal. If you don't, get one, like soon. Pick something. Because people who set goals and go for goals, they sort through life's problems faster and more efficient. They do, because they're going somewhere. They're going somewhere. They want to make stuff happen. They want to make things happen. So I'm telling you, I'm sharing with you, we could fix all your problems, but if you don't have a goal, all those problems are going to come back again, but in a different way. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, so I had a life-changing experience with the vision board, and when I realized this is going to save my life, oh my goodness, I started telling people, you got to get a goal. You got to get a vision board. You have to get goals. And people are like, what? And I started teaching people, and my sweetie pie, this is my sweetie pie, Kimberly. And I'm like, Kim, you got to get a vision board. And she's like, all right, I'll do that someday. Well, she caught the exciting buzz from the vision board, and she got one too. Oh my goodness. Wow. As a couple, it just ignited us. It just opened us up to like our potential. Crazy. We had so many problems before that. Before my vision board, I was depressed. Let me just go back to that for a moment. Before my vision board, I was depressed. I had suicidal thoughts. I was stressed. I was emotionally eating. I was doing all this stuff, trying to figure out how to solve all my negativity. And then I took on a vision board, and I started going for goals. And it pulled me out of my stress. It pulled me out of these things. Now, this is not the main thing I was going to teach you, but this is a side piece to just say, hey, you got to get up and get going. You got to get up and get going towards something. You got to have a goal. A person without a goal is lost. And they're wandering around, bumping their heads into every wall, everything in the world. And they're just wandering, and that causes misery and stress. Okay, so my sweetie pie, she jumped on board. She's like super excited. So we started teaching classes. They were little, and then they got bigger, and they got bigger, and then they got bigger, and they got bigger. We started doing training classes in our home. We started jumping on TV. We started doing all these TV interviews, and people are like, wow, how'd you guys do this? And I came back to two things. One, get a goal. Number two, emotional management. You got to point yourself where you want to go, and then you got to clean up what's going on inside of you. And that's what I'm going to train you on today, is how to do that emotional management. Now, I've got a team of people that's been working with me seriously for the last 16 years. I love my team. They help me so much. And as a company, we have set goals and accomplished goals, and we are impacting and influence people all over the world. Love it. It's just so fun. So fun. So fun. So fun. Okay, so let's get into this. So first off, I need to do some training with you to help you understand some things before I get into this emotional management piece, which is going to be super helpful because I broke it down into 3 steps. But I got to show you some things, and then it will make sense for the 3 steps. Now, if you're interested in what I'm going to train you on over the next 30 minutes, click that little raise the hand button at the bottom of your screen, just so I know you're interested. Because I could do the shallow version, or I could do like full on training. So there's a little hand. It looks like a little hand like this. Click that button and that'll tell me, okay, I'm interested, Kirk. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Now, first thing we need to learn is this. There is how we are on the inside, and then there is how life is on the outside. So there's outside, inside. So when I use these terms, that's what I'm referring to. Inside, outside. Now, sometimes the outside of you can be very big and very bold and can push on you. And so then the outside is affecting your inside. You could have all kinds of difficulties and struggles and problems and world issues that push on you, which then make you on the inside feel small and weak about what you can do. And that can happen. Or the outside world, the way in which you see it, the outside world can be still the way it is, but on the inside, you can be stronger and more clear. And so on the inside, you actually are influencing the outside. Now, I'm going to tell you, that's the way to live, is to be like this, is to have what's inside you to be strong and clear and focused. So whatever happens on the outside of you, you can handle it. You can handle it. That the outside isn't pushing you around, but that you can still do well no matter what's going on around you. So it's important for us to look at what's going on inside of you. So that's where I'm going to go to teach you today, is how to manage the inside of you so that you have the strength to be able to manage the outside of you. And by doing this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you exactly what I've learned how to do to change my life, to build my confidence so that I can manage stress and still be productive and be able to move forward in my life. Now, if you're like this, and this is down here small, if this is down here small because of the outside, if it's big like this and this is what's happening to you, I totally get it. I want you to know you can change this. You can, because if you start today and you start using the steps I'm going to give you, it'll help you feel strong on the inside so that you can be able to manage what's going on the outside. So I'm going to put strong next to control, and I'm going to put weak next to out of control. So if you practice the steps, you will get stronger, and then it will build up the strength inside of you to be strong so that you can make a huge difference in the world, to your family, to your kids, to your spouse, to your career, your entrepreneurship, and so that the outside is not pushing on you as hard, and you can now be an influence on the outside. So my plan here is to train you so you can be strong and in control. Does that matter to you? I hope that matters, because down here, weak and out of control, that causes stress. Yeah, when you're down here, when you're on the bottom of this scale, because this is small, oh my goodness, life is miserable. It is miserable. You feel hopeless. That's the thing, is you feel hopeless when life is like crushing you. And it's like, I feel weak and I'm out of control. I just eat whatever. And you're using food to try to de-stress you. That's not good. That'll make you unhealthy super fast. And I know these things, right? Okay, so the plan is, this is the plan. You and me, we're going to talk, and I'm going to share with you how to move yourself up the scale so you get strong on the inside. So if somebody says, what was that training about that you just watched? Oh, I just learned 3 steps in how to make the inside of me stronger so that I can handle what's going on in my life. That's what we're going to do. Cool? All right, cool. Okay, so let's check this out. So now we're going to take a look at an image here and start to look at your inside. Now, on the inside your head, you have a brain. That is where you think, right? And then you also, inside you have a heart, and we're going to use that as a symbol of feeling. So you think and you feel every day. Can't get away from it. As much as you try to numb out watching TV or numb out eating food or try to sleep in, you still think and you still feel. And based upon how you think and how you feel, that affects your choices. Whoa. And then choices create results. So how you think and how you feel affects your choices, and then those choices produce results. Now, this is how you are on the inside. You've got a thinker and you got a feeler. Everybody's got one. Your spouse has one, your friend has one, your kids have one. They all have thinkers and they all have feelers. But here's the difference between people. It depends on what you have in your thinker. What you have. Like, what are the contents? Because everybody's got a brain and everybody's got a feeler, right? We all have feelings, we all have thoughts. But what changes us as people is what is the contents of that brain. What's the contents of those feelings? And we're going to use the heart as a symbol to symbolize the feelings. So there's two lists. Here's the contrast. Here's the two lists. This symbol right here, this little negative sign or subtraction sign, is going to represent all of these words: stressed, critical, hurtful, confused, foggy, angry, depressed, moody, distracted. This symbol over here with the plus sign, it's going to represent balance, build, create, clarity, serve, kind, motivated, capable, and focused. Now, most people, when I meet them, they want this, but they have this. So how did that happen? How do you end up stressed? Well, watch. If you take this, this is a symbol of stressed. If you take this negativity and you put it, hold on just a second. If you put it in your head, you now have negativity in your brain. And then if you take this and you put it in your feelings, you now have it in your feelings. Okay, so let's say you have a little bit of positive, and we're going to put that in your brain. Okay, good. And then we're going to take some of this and put it in your heart. Okay, so check you out. Check you out. You've got one chunk. We're going to call them chunks. One chunk of negativity, and you got one chunk of positive. So they kind of like balance each other out. Positive's going to battle with the negative, and then you kind of just end up right where you're at. Right? Because if this is one and this is one and this is a negative and this is a positive, they cancel each other out, and then you kind of are at the balance of zero. Right? So you're at a balance of zero. But what if you have two? Now, this is going to be really simple math, but it's going to make sense. Let's say you have two. Let's say you have three. And let's say you have four. And then let's say down here you have two. Well, let's give you another one. You have three. Let's do the math. Let's do the math. Okay, how are you today? Here's your mood. Okay, you got four negatives, you got one positive. Do the math. 4 and 1. You right now are at a -3. I know that sounds weird. Like, what? You're doing math with emotions? You can't do that. Like, I'm sure I can. I can do math with emotions. Why not? Let's keep it simple. If you got one positive and you got 4, so 4 minus 1 equals -4 plus 1 is a -3. You right? That's the math. And now you are now in the hole. You are in debt, in the hole with negativity in your head. And guess what? You're stressed. What? Yeah, you're stressed. Because you have, so like, let's take this positive attacks this one negative, and let's say that they now are like removed because they're out because they just cancel each other out. Okay, look what's left. You have a -3. You have a deficit. You're in the hole. You're negative. You have debt. You are below the line. So this is why you're stressed. You're stressed because of what's in your head, because of what's in there. This is a chunk. I'm going to talk about what these chunks are in just a moment. And I'm going to teach you how to remove these chunks, but we need to do the math so you can see this. Okay, let's go down here and let's do the math down here. 3 negative chunks plus 1 positive chunk. What's that put you at? Okay, let's take that and let's go down here. That would be a -2. Let's just do the math. Keep it really simple. Okay, now emotionally, you're in the hole. Emotionally, you're below the line. Emotionally, you're in debt because you're in the negative. You're just in the negative. This negative and this positive cancel each other out, and boom, they're canceled out. They're over there, and I'm keeping this super simple just so you can understand this. You now are -3 in thoughts, -2 in emotions. Let's add those together, and then where are you at? Oh, you are at a -5. What? Look at that, -5. -5. We just added -3 and -2 together, -5. You are now more in debt, more in the hole, way below the line. No wonder you're stressed. It's an equation. This is a math equation. Well, Kirk, I should just put more positive in, right? There's 2 ways to do this. It's so good. Watch this. Watch this. There's 2 ways to get you to lower your stress. You either add more positive or remove the negative. Or wait a minute, there's a third option. Do both. What if you added more positive? Watch. Here we go. I'm going to add. Whoa. It went behind. Hold on just a second. What if you add? I get so excited about this because it's math. Okay, so you take a positive, boom, you stick it in there. Take another one, boom, stick it in there, boom. And you start piling up the positive in your head, right? Now look at this. Okay, now let's do the math. Wait a minute. 3 negatives, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 positives. What does that make you? Okay, now you are in the positive. And I know, just hang in there with me. Watch what happens. Now you're in the +5. Guess what? You're not stressed anymore because the positive is stronger than the negative, and the negative can't take you down. You're not below the line. You're not below the line. You're above the line. You're in the positive. You're in the positive. Same thing with your emotions down here. What if you had more positive emotions and you did no cleaning, no maintenance on your emotions? What if you had down here 4 and it's like, wait a minute, now this math changes. Now it's a +2 after you do the math. And now you're at a +7. You add both of these together, +5 and a +7. And boom, you now are in a high level of positive attitude and mood, and you still haven't removed any negative. So one thing you can do is add more goodness to your life. Do good things. Read good things, watch good things, listen to good things, interact with good things, talk to people who talk about good things. You add more good, it changes the math, right? Okay, now watch this. Now let's say we do this step and we follow the 3 steps of how to reduce stress and we remove one of these negatives. It went up. You didn't even add any positive, but now you do the math equation again, and it's like, wait a minute, we had a +5, and we didn't add any more positive, but now what's the math? 2, 4, 6 minus 2 is 2, 4, 6 minus 2 is 4. So maybe I did the math wrong before, but now, well, yeah. So the negative is one step, adding the positive is the other step. I can tell I just did the math wrong before. So let me backtrack, fix this. 6 minus 3 is 3. Oh, I had that right. So now we have +4. Okay. And we remove this negative. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minus 1. We're now at 5. What just happened? like 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 2, 4, 6. And now we down here, we pull this out, the positive, because when you remove the negative, the number goes up. So now you can have what changes on the inside based upon 2 different factors: adding the good and removing the negative. And over the years of coaching people, I've asked people, do you want to remove the negative, or do you want to add positive, or do you want to do both? And then as I'm talking to them, they're like, I didn't know there's that many options. I go, we got to change the inventory of what's going on in your head. Because if you have a bunch of negativity, like a bunch, like here's 4, there's 4, and you're literally, so you're literally like balanced here, 4 and 4. It's like you got the negativity. You could literally, I'm not a doctor and I'm not saying this is how you'd be, but it's like your personality could go negative and positive, and you could bounce back and forth between. But I've seen people do that. And it's like, okay, so what we got to do is we got to add the positive. We got to remove the negative so that the inventory inside your mind changes. And then we need to add the positive to your emotional state and remove the negative. There's always going to be something in you, but we can reduce it down. So right here, we've got 4 on 1. So now there's 3. What's this? 2, 4, 5 on 1. That is 4. And so you are at a balance of 7, and you are still above the line. If you don't do this work, let me show you what happens to people. People will say that they're positive because they have 1 little ounce of positivity in them, 1 little ounce. And then they don't count all the negative stuff going on in their head because they don't want to look at it. They don't want to look at the negative. That's the biggest reasons why people don't understand how much damage is going on inside of them, is they don't want to look at the negative. And so they don't want to count it. They don't want to look at it. They don't want to bring it up. But yet right here, where are they at? I mean, you might as well put all these away because this is not a good math anymore, because that's not even going to work. And so over here, it's like 4 and 1. Okay, you're at a -4. And down here, you got 4 and 2. You're at a -2. So you're at a -6. You're in the hole. And so when people are living a life of being in the hole, like they can't get ahead in life, they can't fix their life, they can't stop being stressed, they're so worried, they're so anxious, they're so everything. And as they try to fix their life and they can't, they're like, I can't figure out what's wrong with me. And what's wrong with them is the contents in their head is a math equation. And if it comes out below the line of -6, they're going to be this list right here. That's what's going to happen. They're going to be over here on this list, and they can't get out of it because this is the majority of what's going on inside the person. So if you want to get out of stress, you have to change the quantity of what's going on inside of you. It just makes sense. If you have too much negative and you have small amounts of positive, you are stuck being stressed. You'll be critical with your family, with your kids, with your spouse. You'll say hurtful things. You'll be confused. You'll be foggy, you'll be angry, you'll be depressed, you'll be moody, you'll be distracted. And then you will make poor choices. That's what will happen. You'll make poor choices. And then that will get you into more problems because you're not managing the inventory of what's going on in your head. And I'm going to say it one more time. People don't want to look at the negativity that's inside them. They don't want to look at it. They want to pretend like it's not there. And that is a massive mistake. They want to pretend like it's not there. Huge mistake. It's like letting rattlesnakes into your house and let them be under the bed and under the clothes hamper, around the clothes hamper, and in the closets. And it's like, oh, we can't see them. It's not that big of a deal. But then they come out and they strike. That's just like negativity inside of you. Negativity hides in its corners. and you think it's not there because you don't even want to look. You don't want to look under the rug. You don't want to look under the couch. And then you try to do something good and you don't have the power to do it. Why is that? Every person who comes to me to be coached and they're like, I can't figure out why I can't get my goal. And I tell them, you are weak. You're weak. The negativity has weakened you. I'm not negative. Well, then explain it to me. If you are going to tell me that I'm wrong, you tell me why you can't get your goals. You've been trying to figure it out for 10 years, and I'm going to explain it to you. The negativity will drain you. It'll lower your personal power, and you won't have the power to get done what you want to get done. People today have no clue what their inventory is. They don't know how many negative chunks they have to how many positive chunks. They try to be positive and they try to be positive, but underneath the surface, there's piles of negativity, piles of it. And that explains why they're stressed, why they're critical, why they're hurtful, why they're confused, why they're foggy, angry, depressed, moody, and distracted, is because there's a pile of snakes under the bed. And when something happens that bugs them, they all come flying up and just take over, and they can actually become triggered. And now they are so upset, they take it out on their kids. They take it out on their spouse, or they become super depressed and they quit. I mean, let's just explain what's happening to people. They're not managing what's going on the inside. You will not be able to change what's going on until you do the inside work. If you're waiting for your spouse to change so you can be happy, it's not going to happen. Your unhappiness is because your math equation, you have 4 big negative chunks to your 1 positive chunk, and I had 2 over there, to your positive 2, and you are at a -2. You're at a -2. Down here, you have 4 big chunks with 2 positives. There's another -2. And so you're at -2, -2, you're at -4. You do not have the power to make changes. It's a matter of math. And so what I do is I take people on the journey to find those things. What are the chunks? What is this? What is that inside of you? That's what I'm going to teach you next. How to find this and, watch this, move it out. What? That'll change that to a -1. And now you're only at a -3. And it's like, what? You just improved. You take out a negative chunk, and now what happens is you are changing when you remove negative. It's not just add positive to change. You can change by removing the negative. Now watch this. Remove this negative. Now you're at a +1 in your head. What? Oh man. It's like things are starting to change 1 chunk at a time. I love it, because it's change happens 1 chunk at a time. And this is a chunk right here. There's a chunk or a positive chunk. Boom. But you can change, and watch this. Now you work on your emotions. You get this one out. Okay, now you're down to instead of a -2, you're down to, let's see, 1, 2, and then there's 3. And okay, so these wipe each other out. You're down to 1 negative. Okay, boom. Whoa. Now you're at 0. It's going to feel amazing to get to 0. I remember the day I told my wife, I said, I'm at 0. I can feel it. And she goes, you're happy you're at 0? I'm like, this is so much better. Instead of -70. I've been trying to get to 0 and I'm so happy. So it's like I'm emotionally almost out of debt, but mentally I'm now a +1. I'm getting out of debt emotionally and mentally, right? Okay. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We got to talk about removing these negative chunks. Okay, so let's go there. How do you do that? Okay, well, they got to come out, right? They got to come out. And that means they've got to come, they got to go somewhere. So watch this journey. Here we go. Where's my paper right here? Okay, here we go. Watch this journey. Here's that negative chunk. What we want is we want it to come out and we want it to go away. Up, out, and away. Because it's inside and we want it to go out. But where do we want it to go? Okay, so let's pick something. Okay, paper. Let's go and let's write down how we feel. We're going to use paper. We're going to express our thoughts and our feelings on paper. Remember, we're thoughts and feelings. We're going to express our thoughts and our feelings, and we want to remove these negative chunks. So the way to cause these to leave is to express. Because somewhere you got impressed and they stayed in you. Impressed, they came in. And so now we're going to use express to move them out. And we're going to use paper to be able to use that to express. And so I use a pad of paper, or I'll jump on my computer and I will write down my thoughts and feelings of anything that's bugging me so I can express onto paper. Now, some people go, oh, wait a minute, that's going to make you feel all that. Well, the feeling is inside you. You're wanting it to come up and out and away. And so getting it on paper is a way for me to remove it. If I don't remove it, it's not going to leave. It's like some people need surgery to remove something foreign out of their body. You can't just sit there and think it's just going to pop out. You got to go in there and take it out. And that's what we're doing is we're going to remove this and write down our thoughts and feelings on paper so that it can come out. And then after you get it to come out, what do you do with it, Kirk? Well, then I take that paper with my thoughts and feelings, and then I put it in the trash. So it goes away. I'm not going to share it with somebody. I mean, does that make sense? Like, would you really want to take what you wrote and say, hey, you want to read all my junk? You want to read all my painful stuff and all my mean talking and all my things and all my hurts? You don't let somebody else read it. No. So I put it on paper and then I throw the paper away. I shred it first. That's what I do. And then after I put it on paper and I let that go away, then the next thing I do is I put good in. Right? That's what we want to do. Back here, it's like, wait a minute. If we're going to take out the negative, we want to put in the positive in its place. So every negative that leaves, we then get to do something to put positive in. And one of the easiest ways to put positive in is to listen to great lyrics in great songs. That's a wonderful way to put a new vibe in your body with new lyrics that are positive and a vibration that is positive. Your body soaks up music so fast. So I like to use music after I have done my work to pull and express my emotions out on paper. Now, there's a process that I like to do to be able to make this work. And so I have 3 steps. Here's the 3 steps that I was going to teach you for this whole time. We're going to break it down into 3 steps. Take 10 minutes a day. Write or type what I feel and what I think about what's bothering me or who is bothering me. So I feel bugged because my neighbor's garbage landed on my driveway and I have to clean up the driveway, and my neighbor, they should have cleaned it up themselves. That's something that's bothering me. But that's a negative. It's one of those negative chunks. And if I don't clean up that negative chunk about my neighbor, then that negative chunk stays in my head. And then it's going to affect me. It's going to make my math go out of whack, and I'm going to go below the line, and I'm going to be in trouble, and I'm going to go into stress. So this is the steps right here. is I write down what do I feel? Do I feel mad? Do I feel upset? Am I irritated? Am I bothered? And I write the emotion, and then I write down all the reasons why I feel this. And I write down all my thoughts about this too. And then step 3, I tear the paper up and I throw it away. That's step 3. And these are the top ones that I use. I feel upset. I feel angry. I feel disappointed. I feel embarrassed. I feel sad. I feel stupid. I feel frustrated. I like to clean my body out of these emotions because these will cause stress. And so I use these and go, okay, where am I upset? And then I write down all the reasons I'm upset. I tear that paper up. I throw it away. The next day, maybe I'm going to look to see if I'm angry. Am I angry about stuff? Oh yeah, here's a few things. And I write down all the reasons why I'm angry. And then I throw that paper away. So just like you brush your teeth and take a shower, clean your brain out. So literally, we're taking the trash out of your head. And if you don't, it stays there. It's just going to stay there. And it's going to pile up, and it's going to keep you in the negative. It's going to keep you and it's going to cause you to be below the line, and it's going to cause you problems. So even kids can do this. Even kids, write the emotion out on paper. Instead of pushing it back down, write it down on paper. Hold the paper, let it go into the trash. I feel this, or this bothers me, or I'm upset, or I can't believe this person did this. Whatever it is, you can teach your kids to do the exact same thing to lower the negative chunks that are inside of their head and that are inside of their heart. I hope this makes sense. But these are the 3 steps. Pretty simple. This is the pad of paper that's next to my computer every day, and this is my pen that's next to the computer every day. And so then I write down my emotions, I tear it off, I tear it up into little pieces, and I throw it in the garbage, and I've been doing this for 16 years. But Kirk, shouldn't you be out of emotions by now? No, we're all living on the planet, and there's a bunch of weird stuff going on the planet. And so I'm constantly unloading my emotions for 10 minutes a day. That's why I can stay away from stress. I can stay away from being critical. I can stay away from being grumpy. I can stay away from that. Wow. That's a lot of chat to be able to help you understand what to do. But that's the work to do, is to be able to take those thoughts and feelings and express them on paper. And then you throw the paper away, because if you don't have an outlet, there will be a build up and then a blow up. There'll be a build up and then there'll be a blow up. And usually you'll blow up on family. And if you're not a blow up person, then what happens is then you shut down. So once the negativity builds up, you'll either blow up or shut down. And either way is going to cause problems. But you don't have to have the buildup. You don't have to. You just weren't trained. I know you think you're positive, and I've met good people who feel like, oh, Kirk, I'm really positive. I'm like, that's fine. And most people feel like their positive is up here at the surface of their head. But I tell them, I go, you must have a lot of negative down here because you are in debt emotionally and mentally, and you can't get things done. You're stressed, you're irritated, you're bothered by people, you can't control yourself, you're out of control with your eating, you don't manage yourself very well. And I said, I appreciate you being positive, but where we want to look is under the rug, under the couch, in your head. Where's all the negativity stored? And I've met really good people who do really good things, but they can't get themselves to move forward. And I point to this and I say, you need to clean up your head. And then they start. And then some crazy cool stuff starts to happen because the math changes. When the negativity goes down, they start to feel like they can do things. They feel like they can make things move and make things happen. But if you don't do anything to remove the negativity, you will be stuck. And stuck is the root cause of stress. and you're stuck because of all the negativity. Wow. So crazy, but it's so true. So true. Okay, I wasn't watching questions. I was just kind of on a roll there. Is there anything I need to answer, Oak?
Yeah, there's a couple of questions here. One from Gordy. He asks, should we write emotions down towards the end of the day or during the course of the day as they come up?
That's a really good question. What's the person's name?
Gordy.
Gordy. Okay, Gordy, super good question. Okay, here's my wisdom. If I get triggered by somebody, I go straight to my pad of paper and I'm writing out those emotions right there, because if you get triggered, there's a lot of emotion that comes up. And when it's coming up, you might as well just be unloading it, because if you wait till later, a lot of that could settle back down in and you can't find it later. So if you ever get triggered by something, boom, right then, go get your pad of paper, write those out in the moment. But on a maintenance, okay, on a great, healthy habit, you want to unload your emotions before you go to bed at night. So that's just the rule, is just before you go to bed, and it can be 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, just sometime before you go to bed, so you can clean up your head and your heart before you go to bed at night, because then your brain can process better during the night and it doesn't have a bunch of garbage it has to work around. Because when it has all that garbage, it doesn't know what to do with it. And so it just shoves it in the corner. And then you wake up the next day and it's in the corner. You can't really find it as easily as you could have the night before. And so before your brain shoves all that in the corner, because it just doesn't know where to put it, unload it on paper. So it's really cool to put a pad of paper and a pen next to your bed. And it doesn't have to be long. It could be 5 minutes. It could be just 3 or 4 sentences, but get in the healthy habit to clean your brain up every single night. And if you sit there and it's like, wow, there's nothing, then print this off or take a picture of this and just go, okay, is there anywhere I feel upset? Is there anything that made me angry today? Anything that made me disappointed? And, just write down some things to kind of help stir your thinking as you're kind of searching through your head, looking for stuff you can clean up. So I go through my list and I go, oh, wait, I did feel frustrated about something. Okay, I'll write a few sentences about this. So if I have like a little cheat sheet to go, okay, let me kind of check in, make sure I don't have this in me. And you might have different emotions or different thoughts, but I like having that, so it's helpful for me to do that. I hope that answered your question. So yes, in the evening, but if you get triggered, go to a pad of paper as soon as you can.
Okay, thanks, Kirk. And next question, how fast will somebody notice some results from this? Like if somebody commits to okay, I'll give this 3 days and see, what happens after 3 days. Can they expect to see anything? Or is this, give it at least a week, 2 weeks, a month? I mean, what's your feel for how fast these things start to make an impact for somebody?
That's a good question, because it's based upon if they're a pessimist or a I just thought of opportunist, but that's not the word. Help me, Oak. What's the other?
Optimist. There we go.
Optimist. Yeah, there we go. They're an optimist. So if they're a pessimist, they're not going to see it. But if they are optimistic, they will see changes literally within 24 hours. So it's based upon the awareness of the person. Because my coaching clients, some of them are super negative. And it's really hard to help them see the changes and the good things that are happening. I have to point them out for them. They can't even see it. But then I have a majority of my other clients who are like, wow, I'm already seeing something be different about me. And it's okay, when did you write about that stuff and clear that out? They go, just last night. And so it doesn't take long, but it will take long for you to see it if you are not good at seeing change. So that's one of those factors I can't control, But I know for me and I know for my wife, if we want something to be different, we go unload on paper, and there is a physical difference. That physical difference turns into a mental and emotional difference, which then turns into a behavior difference, which then turns into a result difference. And so there's stages, but the more you do this and you pay attention to the changes, it'll blow your mind. I'm not saying that like this is a miracle thing for everybody and it's going to work perfectly, because it's based upon your ability to see change. If I have a bag of apples and I take an apple out, there's a difference. If I have a negative thought and I put it on paper and I throw it away, there is a difference. But if you're pessimistic and you go, oh, this isn't going to do anything, it's not going to work for you, because your pessimism is putting the negative back in there. And so we get to do the work and really believe in the work, because it's what changed my life. Changed my life. Changed my life. And thousands upon tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of people's lives that I've taught this to. Cool. All Anything else, Oak? I know we're about almost out of time.
Yeah, we got two more questions here. Catherine asks, what if you find the same trigger in your face every day, even if you think you've thrown it away the day before, because the external force is still there and won't go away?
Yeah, good question. So look at this right here. And it's Catherine, is that right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
So Catherine, there's you see, well, I kind of covered up the mind like a lot here, but let's pretend like there are 3 different levels in the mind. Sometimes thoughts are down deep, and let's pretend like there's 3 levels in your emotions. Sometimes emotions are down deep. And so you do the work of writing out your thoughts and emotions, but you know some of these thoughts and emotions, you're going to have to keep working on those because they are deep. And so there was one time there was a trigger I found that I had, and I bet that I wrote it down on paper 15 different times. And I was like, man, maybe this doesn't work. I was starting to think this doesn't work. But on the 15th time, different details came out about why I was triggered. And it was after that 15th time that I didn't get triggered about that anymore. So this is a great process to remove those emotional triggers that we have. But just know that sometimes they're a little bit deeper and there's more details. And you just have, if you get triggered, do it again, do it again, do it again. And even if you have to write the story down or all the details down for 15 times, just do it. Because I hear other people who it takes them a while, but they get to the bottom of it. And if they keep going, they get to the bottom of it. And now the whole thing is rooted out. It's beautiful, but just stick with it.
All right, thanks. So here's the last question that's been asked. Gordy asked another question here. He said, obviously there's almost levels of negativity, right? And that's kind of what you were just expressing.
Yep.
And he said, is it naive to think that removing negative thoughts about my neighbor's trash is much easier than removing, say, some depression? And maybe I said that wrong. I'm not sure if he's literally talking about his neighbor's trash.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I think based upon what you want to have happen, like for me, I wanted to change Kirk Duncan. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get me out of my depression. I wanted to get me out of my low levels of thinking. I mean, literally, I was massively in debt. We were getting food support from a church, and I was terrible. It was just terrible. And so I wanted to change me. So I wanted to focus deeply on me. I mean, I could kind of write about whatever. You know, I feel upset about the world. I feel upset about the government. I feel upset about my neighborhood. I feel upset about the droughts. I mean, I could write about all this external stuff, or I could write about what's going on inside me. And I knew that the best place for me to focus would be inside me. So that's where I've spent 95% of my time, is understanding me and how I think, how I feel, and removing the negative from my thoughts and my emotions so that I could be in this strong zone. So I could handle the outside, no matter what it's going to throw at me. I can handle it. And I hope everybody who's listening to me right now, I hope you try on that thinking too, is you want to be strong on the inside so you can handle whatever comes at you. But you can't be strong if your head and your heart is full of a bunch of negativity. It wears you down and it will make you sick and it'll make you weak to anything that comes your way. If you have negativity in you, you are weak. You're weak. And you can't survive that way. You won't make it that way. You can't handle what's coming in the world if you're negative. And sure, you have a couple doses, a couple little chunks here of you being positive, but it's not enough. You have to root out the negativity. Now, I know we got to go, but I'm going to stick this up here. I've got a YouTube channel. Search 3 Key Elements right here. If there's a lot of cool videos you can watch, great to feast on, to learn and listen to me. I'm also just going to stick this out there. If you want training, this is a great place to go. And you can go read about it and see how that works for you. You can go read about it. Everybody, just read, decide what you want to do. But that's a great place to get, training from me every single month. Or you could go check out my YouTube videos and learn a lot there too. 2 great ways to connect with me. Just want to put that out there in case anybody wanted to find me and you want to learn more about what I do. So let me show this one more slide, and then I'm done. I know we got to go. Where is it? Okay, I'm going to say this. If writing on paper is not your thing, go for a walk and vent. If writing your emotions down doesn't work for some reason, go for a walk and talk it out. If going for a walk and talking it out doesn't work, then go find a tree and tell the tree all your problems. You won't kill the tree. The tree will help you. I've done this a lot where I found a tree and I didn't want to write down on paper. I just wanted to vent and I wanted someone to listen to me who wouldn't try to fix me. And that was a tree. And if walk and vent is good for you, do it. So try the writing, but not everybody's built that way. Some people, you just need to vent. Those who need to just vent it. And some people just need nature to talk to. It's like a halfway point between here and heaven. And so those are 2 other great options I just had to put out there on the table. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, sorry. We're 4 minutes over. We good?
We're good. Although, I just have to express as a member of that last group there, sometimes when I get vented on, I have to go and write somewhere as well, because if everybody's talking to the tree and it's an oak, so I put that out there.
You have feelings towards all the oak trees. Is that what you're saying?
Right. That's right. It's like, I have to produce my own paper. It's kind of painful. So, Kirk, I really appreciate you being here today. And I hope everybody had a great time and benefited from Kirk's training. I hope you can see why, his company has grown so much. He's got a ton of great content out there. Like he pointed at his website, his YouTube channel. I just encourage you to go check it out. It's great stuff and it works. So anyway, with that, we'll go ahead and close the meeting. And, I think everybody that was on here, you should get an email shortly, a little feedback on this seminar. If you want to hit reply and send me an email, I'd appreciate it. And just let us know, if you'd like more of the same kind of stuff or if there's other topics you'd like to learn about. We are going to do a financial webinar next month. We've got somebody lined up for that. And so with that, we'll go ahead and close. Thanks again, Kirk.
Yeah, super cool. Thank you. Nice to meet all of you.